Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this week's Arbitrary Thoughts with Desultory Dave. Desultory. First, let's talk some numbers. I'm trying to stay positive as I inch and claw my way to and through the first 1,000 subscribers hurdle. If you guys are enjoying or feeling like you're getting any benefit from my videos, please continue to like, comment, and share with others. And by the way, my sincere thanks go out to Rusty at TCA Gaming for the generous trainer deck and variant cards, as well as his wonderful shout out to his followers to help me increase my numbers along the way. So a couple of quick family updates since we've last spoke. First, I'm beginning to have a few more issues, more serious issues with my haters. To whoever called Child Protective Services, because of my son Luke throwing those cards at my daughter in the previous, I don't need any more kids, at my granddaughter in the previous video, really? We are just so lucky that the kind lady who came to check in on us was a Pokemon card collector who needed several EX Series set holos to complete her collection. Then there's my wife who read one of your comments, thanks for this, about how your wife got to spend money on a vacuum cleaner before you got to buy any more Pokemon cards. So of course my wife surprised me with a brand new vacuum cleaner purchase based on that comment, and what she called only fair. And I've told you before that my wife and I both know and agree that we are terrible parents. Just another reminder of that indisputable fact this week. You see, we often tell our kids that the most important thing that we expect of them is to be honest with us and not lie. So before my 23-year-old son left on a 4th of July trip with his girlfriend to meet some friends in an Airbnb for several days, I had him sign a makeshift document stating that he would wear a mask while he was with his friends. Because I have underlying lung issues and don't want to die from the virus before I finish my Pokemon video series, I was hoping and trying to protect myself from his likely lack of care and protective action. So here we go again with the brilliant girlfriend. She's the insecure one, but I can't say that. She texts us a picture of our son wearing a mask and says not to worry because she's keeping an eye on him. Well, of course, we get the picture. We start immediately perusing on social media, and we see pictures of our son, his girlfriend, and their friends sitting poolside with no masks on at all. Gee, wouldn't it have been smarter had she never texted in the first place? Maybe she's heard the expression, no news is good news? So this week I'm going to start by apologizing for not getting my act together as I should have. Sometimes it gets hard, you want to do things right, you just don't get there. So what I've been trying to do is plan ahead for what stories to share in future videos, what cards to talk about and show, what technology to upgrade to, and what pranks to play. But unfortunately, because of that planning, we're left today with nothing but my random thoughts. Let me just say one thing about random thoughts and my philosophy on learning in general. If you pick up one pearl of wisdom from a lecture, from a presentation, from anything you spend time attending, I find it a worthwhile endeavor. So I hope I'll be able to get you something out there in that pearl of wisdom category today. I know there are many of you who want to see more of my collection. And all I can say is please bear with me, because I'm really wanting and trying to grow as quickly as possible so other folks, not just you guys, can find my channels and videos. I always worry if I show you all the good stuff too soon, you will basically dump me like almost every other girl I've known over my lifetime has done. So it's best if you don't know all of my collection and story that well just yet. But without further ado, some arbitrary rantings. First, some of you have heard the old adage, planning to fail. No, it's failing to plan is planning to fail. There's a group I follow on Instagram called Pokemon Sealed Collectors. They focus on buying sealed items and Pokemon stuff, and they focus on them not opening those items, obviously sealed collectors. So it's great to see the enjoyment they express when they pick up their next acquisition or conquest. What I worry about is that a lot of these folks are newer to the hobby and they're kind of following the trends of what other people are doing. We were in Walmart today, we were in Target today, we picked up some collection boxes, we picked up some Elite Trainer battle boxes, etc., etc. The problem is they buy multiple of those items and spend quite a lot of money doing it, even if it's on discount at Target for 10% or 15% or whatever off. What I worry about is that if they're looking to do that for investment purposes, that might not be the best way to spend their money. And what happens is, if they like that, let me just say this first. If they like having 22 of an item or whatever, that's fantastic. But it will not be the same kind of investment as if they had saved their money and decided to buy a booster box from the same set. And I'm not going to go into all the details of why that is today, but that's just kind of a common knowledge thing once you get into the hobby for a while. So my message here is, your money only goes so far, so you need to plan how to use it. If you are Gary, Pokemon King Gary, and you're buying a bunch of Charizards because that's what you really love, or you're Rusty at TCA Gaming and you're buying a whole binder full of Happy Birthday Pikachus, well, these folks can both afford to do it from a collection and an investment standpoint, but a lot of the rest of us cannot. So, and I will talk more about investing in the hobby in the future in more depth because, of course, I'm an investment manager in real life. So we'll save that for another conversation. But what I want is for people to understand the best outcome you can find or get to in the end is going to come from planning how your money is going to go further and not relying or falling back or falling into the trap of impulse shopping along the way. Another random thought today has to do with best offers on eBay. So many of the things, it's hard. I'm trying to do this like very serious. I continue to look at this mirror with me in this costume and I'm like, are they even listening to a word you're saying? Okay, but I digress. Best offers on eBay. So I sell a lot of things on eBay. I put best offers out there. Sometimes my buyers will contact me and say, David, we want to offer you this price for this item. And I say no. And then we haggle a little bit and they finally say, aren't you going to go down from your listing price at all? You have to, right? Because you put best offer. I want you guys to understand that best offer doesn't necessarily mean you are obligated to take a lower price on an item. I use best offer as a way for me to gauge the landscape of the hobby and everything going on at that moment in time when I receive the offer. So I look at my listing, I look at competitive listings, I look at how many there are, I look at the condition of the cards, the pricing of the other cards. I look at the hobby in general. How is it doing? Is it in a hot phase or not a hot phase? And how am I doing in general? Am I selling a lot of things or I'm really not selling very much and I need more money? And from all of that, I determine whether or not I'm willing to take a lower offer, etc. So again, not an obligation, but it also often results in me having a lengthier conversation with a potential buyer, which can turn out to be a great long-term relationship in the end as well. One of the mantras that I go by in life is one of my most important ones, maybe the book title I would give to my life's endeavors if I were going to write it tomorrow would be called Figure It Out. So what I say is rather than stress over things you're not sure about, just believe with enough strategic planning, time and effort that you can basically successfully navigate and deal with any challenge that you face. So let's take this idea and insert it into the Hobimon Pocky collection, the Pokemon hobby things. I've started drinking before some of the videos. I'm not proud of it. I just want you to know. I think if you're looking at the red in my cheeks, it may be the lighting. It may be that I had a beverage. Oh, wait a minute. One of my kids said I can't talk about drinking. I'm not drinking, YouTube folks. I do not drink. Kids that are watching, that was a joke. 100% humor. I do not intake any alcoholic beverages. So let's say that I need a card, a box, a collection, a set, whatever it is, and it's too expensive. I can't afford it. It's part of a larger listing. I don't want everything in the listing. I just want one or two items from the listing for what I'm looking for. So oftentimes what we'll do as buyers, we just give up. We look at it and we say, well, that's not, we're not going to be able to get it. We can't afford it. It's not going to work. I say, let's figure it out. How can I go about making my best effort to try to acquire that important card or whatever it is for my collection? So I will tell you that when you go out and you talk to sellers on eBay, as most of you know, 75 to 80% won't even answer a question that you have. A handful of percent will actually answer it, but won't do anything out of the ordinary for themselves. It becomes more than routine. It's just too complicated, even if it's for their benefit. What I do is I say to people, hey, I have an idea here that might be beneficial for you along with me. You're selling 4 items. I only want one of them, but I'm willing to pay you for half of the 4 instead of just the one, those kinds of things. And occasionally it works, and it works out to both of our advantages, which is hopefully what any transaction that's a great one would do, is it kind of creates a win-win. I had a situation recently where somebody texted or emailed me or whatever, reached out and said, I want to own many of your high dollar cards. And it turned out to be a $40,000 or $50,000 deal or something like that. And he said, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. It's going to be over time. Is there any way you could help me out? And we ended up through going back and forth, setting up a payment plan over the course of some number of months, where he's actually going to acquire the cards. He pays me. Once it's all paid off, I'll end up getting him the cards. So again, don't give up too early. Figure it out. And by the way, another kind of tangential, idea to this would be don't lose something over just a few dollars. One of the biggest lessons that my dad ever taught me was you don't go from, when you're buying something, you don't go from nothing to something. You go from some number to something else. So there's something on eBay and it's $500 and you guys haggle over it with the seller and you come to $475 and that's as high as you're going to go and the seller won't move over $500, won't move down from $500. Well, what you have to understand is you are not paying $500 for that card. What you're paying is the difference between $475 and $500 because you were willing to pay $475 in the beginning. But so many of you will just kind of get stubborn, which is fine. If that is your discipline, I have nothing against that. That makes complete sense. Every time I get to this point, I'm out of the game, and that's great. But if you really want that card, I cannot tell you how many instances down the road, it's 3 months, 6 months later, and the card has doubled in price, and you lost it for $20. So if I did not take that mentality into many of the transactions that I've done to compile the one-of-a-kind things I have in my collection, I would have nowhere near what I have, again, without that level of flexible thinking. And a lot of that goes along with something we talked about before, which is my feelings of kill 'em with kindness. I also call that, can you smell what the rock is cooking? So I like to say in my head, can you smell what David is cooking? Can you waft that great waft smell of kindness all over the place? Your reputation counts for so much, and how you talk to sellers, how you ask them to do something for you makes a huge difference as well. Some people say, man, that's all I can pay, whatever, and never a thank you, anything like that. So this week I had a bad experience. I had my first negative feedback on eBay. Well, you can't contact anybody during the pandemic in eBay, so basically I can't do personal. I had to make a quick email and I wrote it out. Within 4 minutes of sending that email, I had eBay coming back saying, we're removing the feedback. We've looked at your account because we can see your verbiage, how you treat clients, the feedback, all the things you're getting along the way. You are not someone we want to penalize with bad feedback right now. It wasn't good. It wasn't the right kind of feedback. Anyways, but my point is the reputation counts for a lot in creating results that come out beneficial to you. And I challenge all of you to try to do one thing. Spend a couple of minutes every day taking a look at your Instagrams and your Twitters and your Facebooks and everything else, and reach out to folks and say, I'm thinking about you. How can I help? Your collection looks great. Your latest acquisition was incredible. Do something talking about someone else and letting them know that you're there to help if they need you. It's a habit development thing that over the course of time becomes innate and ingrained in you, and I think will make you feel better and them as well. And I have tremendous insecurities. You know that because I'm wearing this wonderful Pikachu thing. So I care more about what people think about me than maybe I should, but because of that, it compels me to try to care a lot about people for the win of caring and for the benefit it makes me feel better about myself as well. One last thing in my random thoughts for today is somebody in one of my comments talked about a non-returning seller. So she said this, I buy cards, they don't grade or they don't come in the condition I'm expecting, and I have no way to return them because it's a non-returning seller. I'm so frustrated. Make sure you guys understand that even if a seller doesn't accept returns on eBay, there's no such thing as a non-returning seller. If they are deceptive in the description or deceptive in the listing or their description is not accurate, etc., reach out, ask them for a refund. If they say no, go to eBay. 95% of the time, eBay will get you your money back if it doesn't meet your expectations of the purchase you made. Again, no such thing as a non-returning seller. All right. What better way to follow random thoughts than with one of the most random Pokemon sets ever? Call of Legends. Here it is. Call of Legends. You guys know I get a box at least of every set going forward. So Call of Legends, released in February of 2011, was just kind of thrown in there after the 4 Heart Gold Soul Silver sets and right before the 11 Black and White series sets. There are no other expansions of this series. There's just one. Essentially, the set was created only to allow the time for introduction of Generation 5 into the card game. The set features legendary Pokemon with an 11-card SL numbered Shiny Legends numbered subset depicting shiny versions of legendary Pokemon. As with most premier versions of English sets, this being the premier and only one, the set also includes 8 basic energy cards But interestingly, these 8 basic energy cards only come in reverse hollow format, which actually makes them much more rare than their icon indicates on the cards themselves. The Call of Legends set is made up of cards from the Legend era in Japan. Cards from the Japanese Lost Link mini set were included, as well as many of the L-P promo cards. In order to finish out the set, what they did was they just added in a whole bunch of reprints of the Heart Gold Soul Silver 4 sets, and that's kind of how the set came to its conclusion. The numbers on the set: 95 regular cards, as I call them, 95 reverse hollows, the 11 shiny legend variant subset, 17 variant cards, including the Snorlax pre-release staff and non-staff, and 2 corrected error cards, the PHANPY, for a total of 220 cards. I'm going to quickly, as quick as I can without falling over my piano, try to show these to you right now. Here we go. So, one of the interesting things about this set to me is that there's 22 hollows out of only 95 cards, maybe one of the highest hollow ratios of all the card sets out there. So here we go. So Clefable, these are all, hopefully you can see, they're all Cosmos hollows. Deoxys will show the end of the variants where they're not. I'm giving you a little angle here because I could see the Cosmos hollows. The question is, can you? These are cards numbered 1 to 22. Dialga. By the way, I spent the last couple of days looking for cameras and microphones, as I hope we'll get to 1,000 subscribers, my promise. Espeon. But pandemic shortage of manufacturing is not helping my search at all. Fortress. Anybody has a suggestion on what type of camera I should buy? I'm looking at the Sony a6400. Some others have said the Sony something 7 series. Other ones, throw me a line, throw me a comment. Uridos. Hitmontop. Continue to try to professionalize my operation to deliver more value to you guys. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. Ho-Oh. Again, kind of that old style. These cards remind me a lot of the Heart Gold Soul Silver series, just the kind of colors on them. Kyogre. Leafeon. Still going with the original hollows in the set. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't tell you what the numbers are. I had LASIK surgery, but you know what? When you get really close on these things, glasses still help out. Lugia. Magmortar. Am I happy about my LASIK surgery? Yes, I am. I like it. I like it. So your whole life you have to wear glasses, all of a sudden you don't. Ninetales, kind of cool. Also allows me not to be quite as nerdy as I was, although wearing this costume, I expect I'll get a few comments on the geek or nerd in me all the way. Palkia. Rayquaza. There he is. Smeargle. And number 22 of 95, Umbreon. Cool card as well. All right, so let's move to the shiny Legends subset 11 cards. These have the silver borders. You can see that. Again, the Cosmos Hollows patterns. Deoxys. I'm hoping you guys can see these, the pattern in the back. I can see it, so does that mean you can see it? I don't know. But when we get better cameras, we're going to figure that out, right? Dialga. Entei. Groudon. Groudon. Because you know I don't know how to say it. Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh. Kyogre. Hey, anytime I mispronounce something, send me a comment because it's a win-win, right? I get a comment and I learn something. You guys know this stuff better than I do. Lugia. Lugia. Mario and Luigi. Wrong game. Palkia. Just a nice set. Just a kind of a nice set, subset. You know, another thing about this set, Raikou, is that you can still get this set for reasonable cost. Call of Legends is one of the boxes that's not just absolutely through the roof yet. And these cards are still available, and in many of these shiny cards as well, Rayquaza and Suicune, as well as the variants. Most of them come from the theme decks, which are available as well. Okay, so here's the couple of cards that I mentioned from the reverse hollows. This is number, I don't know what it is, guys, 87 or 88 or 89. There's no way I can see that. So, and here's the red one. I did a green and a red, which you guys refer to as maybe like oh, I don't know what kind of energy. That's like a leaf and some kind of fighting thing, or, come on. And then here's an example of one of the variants, which is the same card. Can I pull that up here? And comes in the crosshatch hollow. You can see the difference in the hollow pattern with the play Pokemon at the bottom. This is a difference in the crosshatch hollows, which were a league awards set to players from the league. I'll show you these two as well right now. And just an example of, I ought to go this way maybe. Does that do a better job? Yeah. So you can see the different pattern and the different cards as well. There's an 8-card set of variants. Just want to show you a couple of the variants. Here's a Lucario. You can see it's ice hollow. So ice or shattered hollow it's called. It has the shards of ice kind of moving in it. These are part of the variants that come from the theme decks. This is a non-hollow Lucario, non-hollow. And then here is your pre-release staff. Take your fingers off the staff. That's the most important part, I know. These seem to be going for quite a bit of money these days, graded ones out there. So, and then finally, I just want to show you the errors. So there is, this is one of the errors. If you look at, I'll try to put this closer, you can look into the ultra thick skin part of this card and it says FANPY, P-H-A-N-P-Y on the correct one and P-H-A-N-P-H-Y twice in the one over the other one, and of course this error was actually in both the regular common version and in the hollow version as well. So I only showed you one of the two. With that, I'm going to say thanks for being with me again this week. One of my top favorite comments, 5 favorite comments that you guys, what somebody said to me was, I don't know who you are or where you came from, but you are making my re-entry into this hobby amazing. And I replied at that point, I too don't know who I am or where I came from, which is why I am glad to have all of you alongside me on this crazy, wonderful, magnificent, incredible journey that we're all on together. Please bear with me as I continue to figure out how to make this channel as valuable for all of you as I can. I'm working not hard enough. I'm going to work harder. But with that, I look forward to seeing you all again soon. And until then, I wish you all the best.